Welcome to a special supplemental episode of Slidecraft. I am going through the cleanup episode, doing processing and editing and other junk on that, and I'm watching the effect of decay, and I'm going to show you a few things that I am noticing. First off, we are at 9 minutes and 6 seconds. I am playing around with a shovel and taking out decay. I want you to pay attention to this pillar here. I'm going to take out this decay block and a few surrounding decay blocks with the shovel. A few seconds later, even though there will be nothing but air underneath this decay block will be gone and the air will be under here. It is still going to fall. This caught me by surprise. So watch this. I'm taking things out with shovels. That decay block is gone. Note it is now air underneath that stone. A couple of more frames. Watch it. This is the only time I have caught this happening. There's air underneath it, no decay block around, and it still falls. This is the only time I have seen this happen. Be warned, air is not a complete protection, and I do not know what causes it to decay even with just air. More tidbits coming up. Alright, we've got another little section that I want to show you. Pay attention to this column over here. We've got a pile of stone, then decay, dirt, decay, stone. You'll note that there is nothing around it except for some things diagonally adjacent. Interestingly enough, there's a huge floor of decay at y=2. Underneath it is bedrock. I do not know why you get a large decay floor like that. If you look around, I'm not sure if you'll see it in this segment, decay tends to find itself in large bands. There tends to be a huge chunk of it like a carpet at one height, and I'm not exactly sure why, but I think I see a hint of it in this section over here. I'm going to move forward, and I hit the wrong key. Let's try that again. I'm going to move forward and watch this column. Let's back up a second. The first thing to note is that this dirt block is going to disappear. The decay block above it decides to fall down. Decay block falls, and when all is said and done, the dirt block was gone and the decay block under it is gone. You probably noticed some strange things happening with the graphics. I was running with OptiFine turned on. I have noticed that I get better performance, less lag, less crashing by disabling OptiFine. It appears that the optimizations that OptiFine makes, although great for normal worlds, fail for mist decay worlds. So again, I get better performance much later when I turn OptiFine off, and I'm at the point now of recommending that if you have decay filled worlds, turn OptiFine off. Again, there was a pile of stone, decay, dirt, decay. The upper decay block appears to have taken out the dirt and the lower decay. Let's move forward a little more. Note this area over here. Note that you have several decay, several dirt, one visible decay, and some stuff hidden. Watch this section. Note my mouse is pointing at this decay block. You can see the rectangle around it. The rectangle has gone. Backing up one, the rectangle is there pointing at that block. Move forward. The rectangle is gone. Note they are moving as a group. This seems to be the big hint. My guess as to what has happened is that there was a decay block under here. This decay block decided to move down. Any adjacent decay block, which included this block over here, but does not include the one in the background, moves down as a group. So it appears to be that when one decay block decides to move down, adjacent decay blocks move down. They had stone underneath them, so for whatever reason, and forgive what you're about to see, it looks like it went down too. It's about to plop right back up. So the working hypothesis is that when decay blocks go down, they take adjacent decay blocks with them. That will tend to make large carpets at one height of decay. I don't know why. I'm assuming at this point that there is a decay block hidden underneath this dirt, because so far it seems to be the case that when decay blocks fall, there's always one decay block at the pile top. So it looks like this decay block deciding to move down should leave decay block under it. The fact that we don't see it yet, I'm assuming, is simply OptiFine's optimizations assumptions going wrong. And just as this dirt block reappeared, it looks like it's gone, then it comes back. I'm assuming that there is now a decay block under there. So this appears to be what's going on that makes wide carpets at one height of decay. The fact that decay appears to take adjacent decay with it. And I'm not yet sure why we get a huge carpet at y equals 2. All right, more tidbits as I find them. I just want to share this little tidbit. We're going back to the original spawn point for the first age just to take a look and set up return historical. Now this will take us to where we started. Ooh boy. Right. So, and welcome back to the cleanup. We have one interesting section that was caught on film, and this is in age 54, Frozen Checkers, right by the Lost Realto linking book. I'm going to frame forward through this area. Note that there is no sign of decay, and there is air gap. Watch what happens as I start moving forward. Should be right around here. Okay, back up one frame. Notice that this area is dark. As I move forward, suddenly, boom, let there be light. There is now an opening into the upstairs. Things have started falling, and when blocks are falling, apparently they are no longer blocks. They are entities. They no longer block light. They let it through. So watch what's falling. Number one, this column over here has a decay block underneath it and is falling down. So watch what happens. It's falling. What about this guy? There was no decay under that at all, and yet it comes down. And now we see this starting to come down over here. Boom, boom, boom. We've got something else about to fall. Part of why you're seeing these chunkiness is that OptiFine is making optimizations that work beautifully normally but fail in this world. Notice, the falling has ended at this point. All this stuff that was air fell. If you have been watching, there have been mushrooms, giant brown mushrooms, where when the central stalk goes down, it takes the adjacent edging, it takes the adjacent part of the upper top. When a world column decays, it seems to take adjacent blocks, adjacent columns with it. Air is not a sufficient defense against decay. It's a good defense, but a large enough and lucky enough decay will fill the air holes up and allow more things to spread. We actually caught that on camera here. Alrighty. Dang, that was nice to catch on camera. Sure was. I'll see you guys again. Are you ready for a big surprise? Just what was in Lost Realto? Get ready for a shocker. And just to see, checkerboard, frozen ocean, and mushroom island. Villages! Villages. We haven't seen them yet. They're there somewhere. Skylands, normal sunset, slow time, standard lighting, standard terrain. Villages! This means we're going to have a quest to find the village at some point in the future. Just as a reminder, as we're flying past this point, note that when the center stalk goes down, the adjacent spaces went down as well. Air is not by in of itself a sufficient defense because it will bring down other things adjacent to the decay column. And would you look at this? I finally found the hidden information. Lost Realto is defined here. You've got a spawn point, you've got symbol count, and it tells you checkerboard, frozen ocean, mushroom, villages, and so on. Where this was located came as a bit of a surprise. Inside of world 1, 2, 3, which is what our world is, you've got your regions. You've got all the dimensions, but dimensions themselves only have regions. If you are used to bucket, then every world has a level.dat, and the level.dat defines what's happening in that dimension. That's not what's happening here in Mystcraft. Inside, here we are, data. Inside data is all the details of every age. Age 52, interestingly enough, appears to be lost somewhere. We have no idea where the descriptive book for that is. It was a world that Anon made during some testing around with Mystcraft. 55, of course, was Realto. But this basically means that to copy a linking book or to copy a world to a new To copy an age to a new world, you take the age data file, which defines everything there is, you change the dimension number as appropriate, you give it an appropriate age name, you take the age data file out of the data directory, and the dimension directory out of the world file. So we now know how to transfer all the pieces of Lost Realto to anywhere else. And I have a little special for you. This is a quick look at the tail end of my cleanup. I am in creative mode, digging down into that staircase where we died in the desert. Pay close attention to the Y coordinate in a moment. How much is recoverable? Yeah, look at that. Our torch is off to the side, not even disturbed. Oop. Wrong keys. Make sure we're back on our original staircase line. No. That seems familiar. And one last example of why this is really bad. Again, I'm in creative. I'm just playing around on that same staircase. Watch this. I'm at 77. I'm now at 56. And that was trying to activate flight mode because I was in creative. Don't mine in Decay. Learn from us. Don't try mining in Decay. I don't know how anybody does it. I don't know how dense ores can possibly be worth it. You cannot get down to the gold and diamond zone because there's just too much decay. It's pointless. It's hopeless. It's got to be... Well, of course, as I'm saying this, I want to try a spiral mine where you are deliberately digging wide around you and digging down in a spiral. It might be possible to make it work, because if you dig wide and around and you leave no decay above you, just maybe, and we are about to check something. I have made a copy of the age that I'm in. I've set instability to false and server view distance to 3. Let's see if it eliminates all decay instantly or only when the decay is updated. Alright, so once more, I'm looking around. I have instability turned off, and yet the decay blocks are still around. This is good. I'm hoping to see the decay blocks turn to stone as they update, so that instead of falling, they will become stone. And grumble, grumble, grumble. Of course, nothing is happening on camera this time. So I'm going to pause. Okay, and we are back with the result of a little experiment. The game has been running for about 10 minutes. Nothing has changed. The decay, I have instability turned off. I thought, according to the documentation, that when instability was turned off, decay blocks were replaced by a stone or something else. They are not. They stay there. They do not spread. This block is adjacent directly to at least one, if not two decay blocks, but it has not become decay. So decay is not spreading, nothing is collapsing down, and the decay blocks themselves are not going away. This is gold. This is beautiful for adventure map makers. They can basically take a world that is stable, place only the decay blocks that they want to give you a time limit on your goal, and then point you at your goal with a time limit. This is gold for map makers. Right now, for example, I am playing Lethamer. And I don't know if you realize this, but I found one chicken and I managed to get one sapling. One chicken plus one sapling equals giant base. Lethamer is looking to be no challenge. The whole issue of having to manage your hunger and wander around a huge continent, it becomes an exercise in patience. It becomes no different than my view towards Skyblock, which there's nothing wrong with the map. It's basically an exercise in patience. And with one chicken and one sapling, that's all Lethamer is going to turn out to be, an exercise in patience. This, the ability to say I can have a stable environment where I set up decay that will not go awry until I say instability on is perfect for map makers. Mystcraft, you are going to become, I believe you will become the standard plugin for map makers, adventure map makers, Vex style map makers in the future. Now, I'm still trying to understand what it is about the decay algorithm that makes these alternating bands so dominant. It's not perfect. You'll note a few places, but 90% of what I see looks to be strictly alternating bands. There is something about the decay algorithm that comes out that way, and I do not yet understand what. All right, so this is not the outcome that I was hoping for sliders, but it is a workable outcome. We will probably have season 2 something like our first 15 minutes in the world, decay is turned off, and then decay turns on. For people who are looking to mine in a decay-ridden world, the answer is deceptively simple with hindsight. Stay on the surface for 10 minutes. Find out where the decay pockets are showing up. After 10 minutes, you know that any decay pockets will be visible on the surface. So you find a surface section with no visible decay pockets, and then you know that you are safe from decay and can dig down. At that point, a spiral mine down and branch mining, you know the areas that are subject to decay, you know exactly where you can and cannot go, and it becomes simply too safe and too simple. So yeah, that is the solution to how to mine in a decay-ridden world. That is the answer to how do you handle a dense ore world. As long as decay blocks do not appear out of nowhere, you just wait until they've announced their presence and then avoid them. All right, so that is the end of the wrap-up. And this is 25 minutes. Much easier to wade through than the hour and a half wrap-up episode. All right, so that is the end of Sliders Series 1 and my introduction to Mystcraft, not Mythcraft. Tongue twister. This is not Mythcraft. This is not Mythcraft. This is Mystcraft. All right. Thank you and have a good day.